Hey guys, welcome back to Coptool. I'm Rob, alongside me is Sarah, and this is what happened this week in the world of power tools.
The FCC has nailing issues, and we learned how to use a multimeter.
Oh, French-Canadian carpenter.
Yes.
All right, clever.
I know.
All right, you won't believe who beats Makita in a multi-tool fight, and we visit in Martin's garage.
Those stories and more coming up next.
This is your Coptool Week in Review. It's Friday, and that means only one thing.
Coptool Week in Review!
Right, okay, two things. It also means it's time for Tool Test Raw at VCG.
Woo!
Indeed, my fellow tool tester. This week, Vince and Jimmy decided to put the Makita and DeWalt multi-tools into the ring and let them fight it out. If you don't have 2 hours to experience the true TTR, you can always watch the highlights instead. That's only 26 minutes.
That sounds about right.
You'll find it at VCG Construction on YouTube.
So our gear wrench cabinets haven't arrived yet?
That's true, but they're coming. They're coming.
Well, once they're here, it's gonna be pretty hard to be impressed by, well, anything else.
That's also true.
So this week we spent some time watching MTV, who reviewed a Husky 5-drawer mobile cabinet. He liked it, but probably because, like us, he doesn't have the glorious 72-inch gear wrench cabinet.
Okay, we get it.
Where do I put Bunshine's photo? Yeah. Well, you can catch up with him at Mark Thomas Builder on YouTube.
You really want those cabinets?
Yes, I do.
Calm down. They are coming, I promise. So, do you know how to use a multimeter? Me neither. Fortunately for us, Electrician U was in session this week. If you haven't found Electrician U yet, Dustin is awesome. His channel is dedicated to teaching all of us to be electricians. Now, this episode on how to use a multimeter is only 14 minutes, and after watching, you'll be certified to wire a whole house.
No.
Well, I mean, maybe a small house.
Not even close.
All right, well, you'll at least understand what a multimeter's for and how to use it.
There you go.
And you can play mono-note music. See? Edumacation. Get started on your road to a brighter future at Electrician U on YouTube.
We got to meet Dustin and his awesome wife at MPS this year.
Yep, and they're awesome.
We also got to meet Martin of Martin's Garage. This week, Martin unboxed 7 new Craftsman tools and says something about them in Spanish. We're not entirely sure what he says, but he gets really excited and smiles a lot, so that's something, right? Maybe we can get him to translate it.
Yeah, I'll ask him.
Okay, sweet. Well, until then, if you speak Spanish, be sure to check out Martin's Garage on YouTube.
All right, so it turns out building things in your wood shop without wood is kind of super hard. Fortunately, this week, the Third Coast Craftsman set out to teach us how to buy lumber and plywood at a hardwood dealer. His video is incredibly detailed and thorough. He even explains plywood codes. If you're ready to get the good stuff for your next project, you should probably start at Third Coast Craftsman on YouTube.
That was a super informative video.
Yeah, but like my favorite part is the look on his dog's face.
What?
Look how pissed off he is.
Aw, he's a good boy.
If you watch closely, you can actually see him blink in Morse code. I hate lumber so much.
All right, enough goofing around. It's time to do some actual work with Rob Robillard.
Rob, Sarah, how are you guys? I want to share with you a neat trick that I learned from HVAC installers a long time ago. And this tip is useful when you find yourself needing to drill a hole through a wall or a ceiling, a floor, and you're trying to do the layout. And anywhere where maybe you can't see the other side or easily walk around to lay it out. So it's a probe. It's basically a probe tip. And it saves considerable time in layout and considerable time with filling or patching exploratory holes later. I simply chuck a metal insulation rod, a support rod, which holds up insulation in ceilings, into a drill. And then I send it through the wall, ceiling, or floor. Now these rods are really sharp and they'll go through almost anything. So you need to take care and make sure that there's nothing buried in the wall or you're gonna damage anything. So you gotta be careful. You never really know, but you gotta be careful. Once the rod is inserted, I then unchuck the drill. I leave the rod sticking out on the other side, and then I go back and find it and finish my layout and go back and install or drill my hole. The tip saves a ton of time, guys. I've been using it now for probably 15, 18 years, and it's probably one of the best tips I've ever learned from another contractor. Hope you guys are well. Take care.
Thanks, Rob. It's time to shift focus from power tools to the makers who use them to create amazing stuff. It's time for the Coptool Maker Break. This week, Brad from Fix This Build That shared a how-to video showing us a simple plan to add drawers to any workbench. In his own entertaining way, Brad shares some helpful tips when using pocket holes and reiterates the importance of checking the base before installation. You can find the whole thing at Fix This Build That on YouTube. Now, Scott Brown Carpentry just finished his new workbench as well with the help of his buddy Cameron, whose power tool collection has us all drooling. Using plans from Ron Polk, the two mates team up to create a custom workbench that's perfect for anyone who travels from job site to job site. Now, you can find his video and the plans for this project for yourself at Scott Brown Carpentry on YouTube. And finally, one of my favorite makers of all time, John Malecki shared 5 tips on working with live edge slabs. He showed us how to pick, maintain, and work with these huge examples to ensure that your live edge piece looks the very best when you're done. And of course, you can find John at John Malecki on YouTube. That's it for this week's Maker Break. Now, if your favorite maker posts something great this week, be sure to tag it with the hashtag TSBOC so the rest of our fans can find it.
Thank you, Sarah. We'll explain the hashtag in a bit more detail at the end of this episode. So it's time for industry news brought to you by ConstructionJunkie.com. Just about everyone involved in construction is aware of OSHA's Fatal 4 hazards, but the American Industrial Hygiene Association has released a report with a few hazards that don't get the same amount of attention, including manual material handling, air contaminants, and even noise. We'll include a link to the report so you can read it yourself. Tesla is finally expanding the installation of their solar roof tiles that look like asphalt shingles after being announced way back in 2016. At their annual shareholder meeting, CEO Elon Musk said that they are now on their 3rd generation tile and they're currently being installed in 8 different states. For more information on these stories and all the rest of your industry news, be sure to visit ConstructionJunkie.com.
Before we go, let's stop by Instagram where Kiefer the Toolaholic himself shared a relaxing video of topsoil being delivered. If I didn't know that was a solid, I'd almost call that laminar flow.
We need to send that to Smarter every day. Next up, our buddy Austin from Tools at Work shared a pic of his dad's router box setup, with a place for every bit and every bit in its place.
The FCC has trouble with his buddy's Hitachi pin nailer. Not supposed to do that.
No, it is not. And last of all, Tim from Shop Tool Reviews headed to the lake this week and just happened to bring along a Reivew rotary tool, which came in handy when he got bored and started cutting locks off of boat trailers. Now, Tim, I'm not sure I'm more disappointed in the fact that you're stealing boats or that you're doing it in Crocs.
All right, that's gonna do it for us this week, but before we go, Rob, can you explain our new hashtag to everyone?
I can. So the hashtag we mentioned earlier, which is TSBOC, stands for This Should Be on Coptool. What we're asking is for some of our fans, whenever you run across a video on YouTube or a post on Instagram that you think is so good that we should see it and we should put it on our show each week, we ask you to drop that hashtag in. Our hope is that as that happens, not only will it give us a resource for finding new content each week, which I promise we'll give you credit for it as well, but also it'll be a place where any of our fans can go at any time during the week and find a bunch of great content from other fans. So all this week, please, you see content that you like, go in there, leave a nice comment. Please tell them that you like their post or like their video, and then just leave the hashtag, because the hashtags work on YouTube too.
Yep.
Hashtag TSBOC, and we'll be sure to see it.
So what happens if I use the hashtag? What do I get out of it?
Okay, well, you get nothing because you work here. Yeah. But for the rest of you, I'll tell you what, our friends over at Ohio Power Tool, who are sponsoring this week's video, offered us a gift of a Metabo 12-volt drill kit that we will give away randomly to somebody who uses that hashtag on some original content they find this week. So we'll be watching. Whatever we find by the end of the week, we'll randomly choose one of those posts and we'll inform them and let them know, and they can win the new kit. So.
Sweet. And speaking of Ohio Power Tool, thank you guys for sponsoring the show this week. And guys, don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss a thing.
We'll see you next week.